Hey everybody, it's Alan, and I hope that you are doing well. So, not too long ago, I made a suggestion for a band to do a medley of two songs together. I even created a video for it. I called it Kerosene. It was The Warning doing a combination of the song Kerosene and the song Sick. They'd never done it, and I created a video to sort of show what I was thinking. Well, one of the inspirations behind that was a live performance by one of my favorite trios, governmentmule, where they had a guest bass player named George Porter Jr. from the group The Meters come on stage, and they did a medley of their song Beautifully Broken, but they medleyed it with Prince's When Doves Cry.
Why did you leave me here stranded out in the cold? Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Maybe you're just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry. Mysterious, blown in with the night. All this beauty captured in a frame, visibly shaken but never stirred. Drives them insane. I see the way she plays him in, and I know I've got to know her name. She's so beautifully broken, shaped by the wind, dangerously twisted. Here I go again. I see the way she cast her spell. It's like drowning in moonlight. Discards them when she's done. They're lost in her twilight. I watch her move from star to star, and I wonder why it feels so right. She's so beautifully broken, you barely see the flaw. Especially from a distance, which is always how I fall. Why do I fall for the dangerous ones, the ones that don't know how to let go? Why do I lie to myself, pretend that I can break her? dangerously twisted. Here I go again. Here I go again. Here I go again. You leave me here stranded, stranded out in the cold. Maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father, too bold. Maybe I'm just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry. Here I go again.
Man, I have always loved that version of the song. I mean, there's something really special. I mean, that moment, if you don't know the history, Government Mule was originally a three-piece, and the band's bass player, Alan Woody, passed away. God, it's almost 25 years ago he passed away. And the band was unsure if they were going to continue on, and if they were, what form would it take? Well, in the process of them trying to figure that out, they're like, well, we should probably pay tribute to our fallen comrade. And they started to ask other bass players if they'd like to contribute. And they tried to figure out what bass players Alan Woody loved and or took influence from. And next thing you know, they end up with a list of like 20 to 30 bass playing legends and icons, everybody from Alphonso Johnson to Bootsy Collins to, Les Claypool to Victor Wooten, Rob Wasserman, Jack Bruce, you name it. They're basically the who's who, Flea, and so many other bass playing icons that they ended up creating 2 double albums, not one, but 2 double albums. And they went on tour. They determined they were never going to play as a 3-piece ever again. They would only play as a quartet or have augmented artists come in and expand the roster for various things. But they were always like, well, add a keyboard player. We'll do a couple of different things, but let's go on tour and see what we can do. And they basically toured with whichever bass legend was free that day or week. If there was a bass player in town and wanted to come in and set in with them, they basically did. When I saw them at the House of Blues here in Hollywood, they had I think it was Dave Schools from Widespread Panic opened up with them. And then they took a set break and they brought out Alphonso Johnson with an upright bass and completely changed vibes into more of a straightforward sort of almost jazz blues kind of group. And then he left and out comes Jack Cassidy from Jefferson Airplane and Canned Heat. Anyway, whatever band he was in. And they did all kinds of classic rock stuff, including, some Hendrix tunes and other things. And then at the end of the night, all 3 bass players went on stage and played with them. So you had 3 bass players, 1 guitar player, keyboard player, and a drummer. And it was so thunderous. It was kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. And then at the end of that particular tour, which lasted, I want to say 2 years, at the end of that particular tribute tour, they ended up doing this concert, which was, I think, roughly about 6.5 to 7 hours long. Involved some 23 or 24 different bass players, plus other musicians who came in and played with them, like the Dirty Dozen Brass Band, and Bella Fleck came in with the banjo, and just a remarkable array of musicians coming to set in with Government Mule to pay tribute to their fallen comrade, Alan Woody. And so I've seen Government Mule dozens of times, and they never fail to put a couple of songs together that you wouldn't necessarily have expected, but they just kind of fit. And I've always thought about that when I've set up set lists for bands that I was in. It was like, hey, what if we took this song and that song and put them together and see if we could create a special moment during the live show, which is sort of the whole reason I had thought of and or made the suggestion for the warning to combine the song Kerosene and Sick. A lot of it comes from inspirations like performances like this one, Whendovescry and Beautifully Broken, going together. And I've seen it in many shows, a lot of shows. There was a great concert I saw in Las Vegas where it was actually the band Blues Traveler, and they played for, I'd say, about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, including the encore. And during the first set, they stopped a grand total of 1 time. They medleyed every song they had in their set list together, with the exception of the 1 break for tuning. And then they did the same thing in the second set, where they played the entire second set. They stopped 1 time to tune. And they, again, medleyed every song that they had created for that set list into the next song. And I mean, to me, it's sort of the beauty of the jam band world. I remember, I think it was back in 1984 or 87. I was just a teenager. I'd seen the Grateful Dead playing live at Foxborough Stadium in Massachusetts. I believe they were opening up for Bob Dylan and then played as Bob Dylan's backing band during that particular show. And there was a moment during the show where they took 2 songs and put them together. And I think, if I remember correctly, the songs were Hey Jude. It was the na 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 part of Hey Jude. Na 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 Jude, and they combine that with Dear Mr. Fantasy. So you got one guy singing, Dear Mr. Fantasy, play us a tune. And the other guys in the band singing, na, 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 hey, Jude. And it worked so perfectly. And seeing that as a young musician, just sort of up and coming, I remember that portion of the concert more than I remember anything else from the show. And it's always stuck with me. And so again, in certain situations, I remember there was when I was in a cover band, we had done a version of, what was it? It was I think it was Feeling All Right, the Joe Cocker song. And we combined it with, I think it was a song by the Archangels. And I can't remember exactly what the combination was, but it just really worked perfectly together. And it always had the crowd that we were playing to dancing and moving. And it was just the ability to combine two songs that have enough of a similarity together to create an epic moment for the audience to go, I never heard those two songs played together. That's incredible. Just again, can leave a really interesting impression on the listener. And it's something you do in a live set. You don't do it on a record. You don't do it in in the recording studio. You can only really do it live. It leaves it as a special benchmark for the audience members to see that particular set and be talking about it. In my case, with the, Dear Mr. Fantasy, Hey Jude combination, we're talking 40 years later. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm going to leave it there. Feel free to leave a comment. We could talk about it further. Just know that I appreciate all of you, and I wish you well.